here's the deal. I get you first thing in the morning. You might not have had enough coffee yet. But I'm going to require maximum participation. So let's try that again. Can you handle the truth?
Yes.
Because the truth is, I almost failed flight school. But before I tell you about flight school, I need to tell you how I got there. Would that be okay?
Yes.
And along the way, I'm going to share with you lessons I learned that serve me in life and business that can help you too. Sound good to you?
Yes.
Then let's get started. You see, I was an unemployed military wife. I had just graduated from college with a degree in art, a minor in mathematics, and an associate's degree in engineering. Yeah, don't be impressed. I couldn't get a job. But that was because we were stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Has anyone been to Fort Polk, Louisiana? It's in southwestern Louisiana where it was swampland, mosquitoes the size of baseballs, didn't even have a Walmart. There's a reason that the people who live there call it Fort Puke. And I got a job. Yes. Working in a pizza place. 5 years of college. My parents were not proud. And I was miserable. So one night I looked at my starter husband. Anyone else have a starter spouse? Come on. Come on. Don't laugh too hard. You might still be on yours. Sometimes the starter is a keeper. And then some of us, slow learner. But I looked at him and I thought, if he can be in the Army, why can't I? So I decided to join the Army, but I wanted the coolest job possible. Okay, I didn't know what that was. So I went out of the base to ask around. I asked, if you could do anything, what would you do? And if you had to do it over, what would you do differently? And finally I asked, what's the coolest job? And over again I heard, and I'll have you help me because it's on the slide, what do you think I heard was the coolest job?
Pilot.
Being a pilot. I said, oh, I'll do that. I didn't know it was hard. I didn't know the Army had only let women into aviation just shy of 20 years before that. And in 20 years, they were only letting women in one at a time. One at a time. One at a time. You know, to see how it worked out. I didn't know that. I just knew that it felt right. So I went out to the flight line to research this morning as I pulled my car off to the side of a dirty, dusty road, the hot, humid August, Louisiana. You get out of the car in the deep south in the summertime, and it's like this. And I walked down a ditch, through knee-high grass, up an embankment to a chain-link fence that protected the helicopters. And I poked my fingers through, and I gripped the hot, gray metal as I looked at the helicopters for the very first time. And I went, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, have you had those moments in your career? Have you had those moments in your life where you're at the right place at the right time, doing the right things, helping the right people? If your boss is in the room, please say yes. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Where everything just feels right. And I had a vision. Have you ever had a vision of the way something could be, but yet you have no idea how it's going to happen? I had the vision of myself out on that flight line, flying those helicopters, wearing a flight suit that could still fit today thanks to Spanx. Maybe. Here's the thing. I didn't have to know how I was going to become a helicopter pilot to believe I could be a helicopter pilot. You see, we believe in ourselves, our abilities, our potential first. We figure out the how along the way. But what happens when you don't have the belief in yourself and what is possible? Opportunities will pass you by. Your awareness won't even allow you to see it if you don't have the belief first. And I call this being in your potential zone. Because in your comfort zone, you get what you already got. Because you're going where you've already been. The magic happens. Your growth, development, your future, your legacy They happen in a potential zone, not a comfort zone. I walked inside to talk to the pilots. It did not occur to me they were all men. They helped me. They told me what the process was to become a helicopter pilot. And my next step was going to the recruiting station. Now, do we have any veterans in the house? I always like to ask if there's any military veterans. It's okay. There's sometimes some. And do we have anyone here who's had any member of their family serve in any military worldwide? Hands high and proud, please. Can we give a round of applause for families? Because the families serve too. It's tough on families, isn't it? So I'm going to fill you in on a little veteran secret that most people don't know. Because when you go to a recruiting station and you open the door to walk into a recruiting station, the fresh air you let in activates their saliva glands. They get really excited. Somebody just came to them. And when I walked into the recruiting station, this is what the recruiter did. Oh, 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 oh. We have openings for a cook today. A cook. Was I not just working in a pizza place? I said, no. I want to go warrant officer flight training program. And what do you think he said? You can't do that. I'm going to give you a little trick. When you're in your potential zone, are you met with resistance? When you want to try something, when you want a ground break, are you met with resistance? Absolutely, right? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Here is a 3-step framework to help you combat that resistance. You ready? You might want to write these down. Go ahead. I take notes on my phone. I'm cool with that. Handle pilot speaker. So here's the 3 steps. The first step, do your research. Know what you're going into. Know what they're going to be looking for. Know the details, right? Do your research. Step number 2 comes from number 1. Step number 2 is know the vocabulary. Does the military have their own vocabulary? Right? Does every industry have its own vocabulary? Right? Know the vocabulary of where you're going in. And step number 3 is simple. It's just not easy. Because when you're in those situations where you have to combat someone else's resistance, whatever you say it with supreme confidence. Not a little, a lot. You've got to show up and be confident because no one wants to follow anyone who is wishy-washy, do they? You have to be enough confident for both of you. I'm going to give you some strategies for that. So I said, I want to go warrant officer flight training program. I had done my research. I knew what to say, and I said it with confidence. And he still looked at me and said, no. Now what do you do? What do you do? Hey, Elizabeth, I did 1, 2, 3, right? What do you do? There's a bonus 4, okay? The bonus 4 is when you're met with resistance, is to question with curiosity, not attitude. I know there's some attitude in here. Be more curious. Ask more questions. Find out what's really going on when something doesn't feel right or you believe something is possible and you're getting that resistance. So for me with the recruiter, I asked him, why not? What is standing in my way? I needed to know. And he said, well, you need perfect eyesight. I have that. Why not? He says, well, you need perfect physical condition. I used to have that. I was a lot younger then. Why not? Well, you need a college degree. Say it with me because I almost have. Why not? He says, well, you need leadership. I said, I have that too. Why not? Well, because, you can say it with me, it's fun. And I asked him, what did I ask him up on the screen? And he said, what do you think he said?
Oh, how many think it's gender bias? Come on. I speak to a lot of male-dominated industries, and at this point I have to tell them it's safe to raise their hand. Okay? Come on, gender bias. Who thinks it's gender bias? Yeah. Here's what he said. I don't know how to do that paperwork. I want you to think about that. He didn't know how to do his own job. It was a training issue. What would have happened if I had walked into the recruiting station and I had believed him instead of me? Would I have become a helicopter pilot? No. Mm-mm. Would I now be hugely humbled and honored and thrilled to just been named in January number 13 on the list of the top 30 motivational speakers in the world? So number 1, Tony Robbins. Number 2, Mel Robbins, no relation to Tony. Number 3, Simon Sinek. My first year on the list, number 13. Yeah, thank you. Hugely humbled. And would I be here today? I mean, probably not, right? My entire future changed because I was willing to believe in myself, my abilities, my potential zone, and question with curiosity. It changed everything. So let me tell you what I did. I sat in the recruiting station, I read the regulations, and I did his paperwork for him. Sometimes you have to do their job to get what you want. You have to make things happen. You can't wait for someone else to step up. You have to make it happen for you. Because your future is your responsibility. Your future is up to you. You are in the pilot seat of your life, your business, your job, what you do every day. And there's no autopilot in any of that. Is there? Not a trick question. Is there autopilot in your life? No. Is there autopilot in your work? No. Is there autopilot in your legacy? No. You're the pilot in command of you every day. I went to the flight doctor to take my flight physical, and he looked at me and he said, "Little girl, don't you know flight school is really hard? What makes you think you can do this? You are wasting my time." Wow. Sir, I have an appointment. Let's just do the physical. And we did. And then when I went to take my testing, the military has what's called the Flight Aptitude Skills Test. They call it the FAST test. It's really slow. And the examiner, the sergeant issuing the test, he looks at me and he says, "Young lady, don't you know this test is really hard? What makes you think we're going to go with this on this one? What makes you think you can do this?" Let's try that one again. This. What makes you think you can do this? You are wasting my time. Y'all have heard this before? And I could look at him with confidence and say, "Sergeant, I have an appointment. Let's just take the test." And we did. Every step of the way, though, someone else didn't believe. And if you believe something is hard, it's going to be hard. And if you believe something is easy, it's going to be easy. Not as hard. Because what we believe, does it show up? Does it show up in our attitude? Yes. Does it show up in our actions? Yes. Does it show up in our results? What if you could better control your belief? So, I have a little activity where I'm going to put us all into, but I need a volunteer. So, because we're going to demonstrate a partner activity. I need a volunteer. Now, I believe in ethical bribery. And you know what's like ethical bribery? So I have a signed copy of my book, The Pilot Method. Did you have your hand up back here? Come on. She had put her hand up before she even knew she was going to get something. Come on up. Give her a round of applause. She has no idea what she's in for. Hi, Heather. Nice to meet you. So, Heather, we're gonna do some muscle testing this morning. All right? Have anyone done muscle testing before? Excellent. Well, we're all going to get to do it together because I'm going to demonstrate with Heather, and then I'm going to have you partner up with someone. I'll walk you through the instructions at the end, so wait until I release you from the instructions. And so we're going to demonstrate.
Awesome.
So the first thing you're going to do when you partner up with someone is just decide who goes first. We're going to go with the person with, I'm going to say longer hair. You have longer hair.
Okay.
Okay. All right, it's pretty close. But all right, which arm is feeling stronger, right or left?
Right.
You're right, so I'm going to come to your right side. Okay, so I'm going to have you kind of pivot out so your hand's out here so everyone can see it. All right, so the testing position is the arm at shoulder height. You're going to rotate the thumb down. That's the testing position. And we're going to do a baseline. Okay, so I'm going to push down. You're going to resist and push up. Okay, and I'm going to know how much force to use. And I'm going to use that same amount every time. Now, it's really important that you have a good baseline because you don't want to hurt the other person. Because I could. Is that good?
They're lethal weapons.
It could be. All right, feel good? Yeah. Comfortable? All right. So we're going to use a little bit of language. Henry Ford had a famous quote. It's my favorite in the whole world. Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you're right. So we're going to use that language with some muscle testing to see what happens. Okay? So Heather, we always start negative, end positive. You always want to end in a positive state. So Heather, 3 times, really loud, I want you to say, I can't, I can't, I can't.
I can't, I can't, I can't.
Arm up, let's check it. Resist. See it shake? All right. Well, we never want to leave it in a negative state, so I can, I can, I can.
I can, I can, I can.
Let's try it again. Resist. See how it came up even higher to start with? Yeah. It's a little bit of a difference, isn't it, Heather? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give her a round of applause. Here's the book. Uh-oh, I just bumped your light over here. Here we go. It's good. Okay, so now I'm going to put you in the activity. Now, here's the thing. I want you to partner up with someone you don't know and someone you're not sitting next to either, because you'll be sitting next to them through the day. So I want you to mix it up. So if you're on this side of the room, come to this side. If you're on this side, come to this side. Find someone you don't know. If you're looking for a partner, raise your hand so you can find someone else with their hand raised. Let's meet somebody new, okay? So who's testing first? The person with the what hair? Longest hair, arm up of their choosing, thumb down is a testing position. You're going to baseline. I can't, I can't, I can't test. I can, I can, I can test. Switch so you both get to go. And then have a seat. Coming up, I'm going to teach you how to fly a helicopter. Ready? Go. When I had Heather up here and you knew that you were going to go into this activity, how many of you thought, well, that's not going to work for me? Yeah, you do know I can see you. This is not like Zoom. Right? Did it work? It's kind of creepy, right? And there's a reason I have you be the tester and the testee in it, because you think the other person's pushing harder, didn't you? Right? But how many times do we say, I can't, you can't, or we can't when you really could? Probably too often, right? We need to be more aware of our language, because our language has a physical response in how we show up. So we need to be more aware of other people's language that we allow around us. So when you're hearing someone else say, I can't, you can't, or we can't, and it's possible, there are compliance, safety, and regulatory reasons that some things can't be done, right? But when it comes to ability, potential, possibility, push back and say, whoa, let's talk about what we can do. Let's reframe that negative into positive and be more empowering in our language. Pretty cool?
Very cool.
Now, this is just the first of 3 strategies that I have to boost your confidence. And in fact, there's 2 other different ways to do muscle testing, one with nonverbal language and then another one. Any of you have kids? Yeah, there's another one that's a lie detector test. I love that one. So that one is not HR approved. So I'm going to give those to you as an online course for free, so that you have all those confidence-boosting techniques and strategies. Because when we show up more confident, does our work go better? Yes. Right? I mean, when you're having a good hair day, does your work seem to go better? Yes. Right? It might be a struggle, sir. All right? Our confidence shows up in our competence. And when we drive our competence just a little higher, a little bit more focus, a little bit more duration, a little bit more attention, a little bit more than the day before. A day over day over day, cumulative effect of that is a mission of excellence. And I don't know about you. Is anyone else really tired of average? Do we see way too much average? Like, let's be on a mission of excellence. You don't get to be a groundbreaking woman by average. And average doesn't happen by accident. Excellence doesn't happen by accident, right? It happens with intention. Excellence requires intentionality and focus in what you do and how you show up. So here's the online course. There's a link, or you can do the QR code if you want to get it. We'll also send this out so it can go out to everybody via email afterwards as a follow-up piece, so you'll get it, okay? It's a $99 online course I've overridden to free only with this link or QR code, okay? Because we need more confidence. And those of you that have any youth in your life, brothers, sisters, children, nieces, nephews, do these confidence-boosting strategies with them because they're struggling. And we need them to be more confident so it shows up in our resilience. I had to find these kind of strategies because when I got to flight school, well, first I went through basic training, then I went through candidate school. Warrant officer candidate school was one of the toughest schools they were letting women into at the time. There was no male or female standard. It was a warrant officer standard. Do you think they were lowering standards for those girls they were letting in? I had to meet all the same physical standards as the men. I had to run 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, in boots, in gear at their pace, not mine. I had to do push-ups up on my toes. There were no knees, ladies. The same as the men. At the end of that 6-week training course, I could do 83 push-ups in 2 minutes. It was what I had to do. I could not do that anymore. But it was what I had to do then. I had to push myself harder physically than I had ever been pushed. Because we started that course with 7 women. Only 2 of us finished. And the 2 of us who finished, we finished first and third in the class. Because it was excel or get sent home. And I wasn't going home. So in order for you to understand what flight school is like, though, I got to teach you how to fly a helicopter. So you're going to need both hands and both feet if you're able. You can put your pen and your phones and things down. You're going to need both hands and feet. And we're going to follow along. Ready? With your right hand, you're on what's called the cyclic. The cyclic is a stick. It goes down into the floorboard. It comes up into the rotor system, and it controls the pitch of the rotor blades. So with your right hand, stick it straight out in front of you. That's where the cyclic would be. From this moment on, you are on the controls. There's no autopilot. Don't let go. Okay? This is your direction. So if you want to go forward, you're going to push it and lean forward. Yep, you're flying. Now, as a room, come on in. I'll let you get set up to fly. Come on. Right hand out here. Ready? Okay. So we're going to push forward and fly forward. Now, as a room, we're all going to go the same direction. We're all going to go this way. Push and lean this way. Yep, you're flying. Now, if you want to go the other direction, where do you think you would go? And if you wanted to go back, where would you go? Whoa, there's a tail back there. Don't pull it too far back and hit your tail. That's bad. Don't hit that. Now, that's your right hand. Now, some of you let go and just crash your helicopter. No autopilot. So that's your right hand. Now, at the same time, while your right hand's still on the cyclic, your left hand, I want you to imagine your elbow is pinned to the floorboard. All you can move is the front part of your hand. It's a lever off the floorboard. The higher you pull it, the more fuel goes into your engine. So the higher you pull it, the more airspeed you get. The higher you pull it, the more altitude you get. And if you pull it really high, you get both altitude and airspeed. So let's pull some power. We like that. Yes, but here's what happens. I am flying straight like this. And as I pull power, the power goes in the tail. And even though I'm flying straight, as I pull power, the tail starts kicking out like this. So I am flying straight with my tail off to the side. Is this aerodynamic? No. So with your feet independently of each other, if you're able, you're going to push on the foot pedals. The foot pedals are going to control the pitch of the tail rotor blade and get your tail behind you where it belongs. So all at the same time. So go ahead and do all that at the same time. Wait, There's more. While you're still doing all of that, you have a center console of avionic and navigation equipment to tell you who to talk to and where to go. And you've got 4 feet of instrument panel you're scanning to make sure you stay in system limits. Because even though we're in the air, there are speed limits. Did you know there's speed limits in the air? Yeah, there's just no signs. You have to have every single limit on every single gauge memorized. And while you're still flying, I can see you. While you're still doing all that, you also have your windows. You're scanning through the front window, the door window. You have a chin bubble window down here at your feet. In fact, right now, look at your toes. Because when you lose your engine, that's where you're gonna go. There's no glide in a helicopter. You're going straight down. So it's really important you don't hit anything else. But wait. Because you also have a helmet on, and with a helmet you have a microphone, and you're talking internally to your crew and externally to air traffic control. All at the same time. Some of you look tired. I'll take the controls. You can let go. Give yourself a round of applause for flying a helicopter. Excellent. Flying a helicopter. Well, the first maneuver you must learn is how to hover. Well, first off, all that at the same time, anybody feel the multitasking? Right? But isn't the pace of business faster now than it's ever been? The phone is ringing, the emails are dinging, the text messages are blinging, sometimes all at the same time. And have you noticed that the pace of business is just moving so fast? Right? But you determine your day. You determine what you do or don't do. The little micro decisions you make throughout your day determine what you get done. So be more intentional on that, because you're in the pilot seat of you every day. Flying a helicopter, the first maneuver you must learn is how to hover. Hovering is when you're 8 to 10 feet or higher off the ground. I think I got a picture of it. There we go. 8 to 10 feet or higher off the ground. The wind, it whips off the rotor system. It hits the ground, and it actually bounces off the ground and comes up underneath the helicopter, and it makes it aerodynamically unstable. I mean, it is so aerodynamically unstable, it's like the bumblebee that shouldn't fly doesn't know any better and flies off anyway. Hovering is first. It's how you get up off a landing pad and take off. Hovering is last. It's how you come into land. Most maneuvers are built on hovering, and hovering requires a very soft touch on the cyclic. A very small movement in the cyclic is a very big movement up in the rotor system, and a soft touch is best. In fact, there was a study done, and it was published in Time magazine, February of 2013, that women make better helicopter pilots. Yep, it said nothing about all the crap we had to go through to get there, but it was all about the safety record, and we had a softer touch and how we handled ourselves and the multitasking. So that soft touch is best. But what happens to the soft touch when you've drawn the flight instructor, who is screaming at you? You're stupid. You don't deserve to be here. You are wasting my time. What makes you think you can do this? And my least favorite of them all? An orangutan could fly better than you. Every day. Every day, and that soft touch I needed to hover, do you think it stayed soft? And I'd go too far to the right and back too far to the left and back too far to the right and back too far to the left. What does this look like? A swing or on a clock, a pendulum? Yeah, they call that the pendulum maneuver. It's prohibited. Don't do that one. And he would take the controls away from me, and he would yell at me again. The first week, it wasn't so bad. The guys couldn't hover either. It really was hard. Second week, no problem, because I'm not the only one struggling. Until the third week, I'm the only one struggling. Fourth week, halfway point of this course, and I'm failing. Fifth week, I decided to go to the commander's office. Sir, I'd like an instructor change. Denied. Sir, could we? Denied. Sir, what if we?
Denied.
Couldn't we?
Denied.
What if we?
Denied.
And he says, go back to class. Yes, sir. And as I got to the door, I turned back to the commander and I said, "Sir, with all due respect, I will not quit. You cannot make me quit. I'm going to show up and I'm going to bring the best of my abilities every single day." Because, ladies and our few good men, when things get hard, and it's a when, not an if, isn't it? When things get hard, you show up anyway. When others would give up, you grit up, you show up. Show up and bring the best you have in the moments you are in, because sometimes that's all we can control. I showed up, and I still failed. The 5th week. The 6th week. It's getting real now. It's only an 8-week course. 7th week, I show up, and as I walk in the door, I see something different. He's not there. It's a substitute instructor. Say it with me.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I got a shot, I got a chance. Say it with me.
Yes.
And he's looking at all my grade sheets.
Wow.
And he looks at me and he says, "What's the deal?" Now, what could I possibly say that wouldn't sound like I was making an excuse? What could I possibly say that wouldn't sound like I was blaming someone else? What could I say that would take responsibility? And I had nothing. And then, it came to me what to say in a difficult situation. And if you are taking notes, this is one you're going to want. What to say in a difficult situation. He had asked me what the deal is. And here, if you write this down, it's what I said. "I'm trying really hard." And then he yells at me. And he tells me an orangutan can fly better than me. And I really just want to see an orangutan fly. Yeah. Did I mention crying in uniform in the military is really bad? It's really bad. And he did, now this is my own personal opinion, what I would categorize as a fairly typical male response to a female crying. It looks like this. Please stop. Please stop. And I had to stop, and I had to dry it off. And then he said to me 4 words I'll never forget in my entire life. And they're the 4 words I want you to write down. He asked me, "Do you want this? Do you want this?" And now I want you to take the "you" and change it to an "I." Because when things get hard, when you're feeling stuck, when you need to push through, I want you to ask yourself, "Do I want this?" And stay connected to that feeling, that passion, that fire that sometimes just gets tired. You see, you have to be the one that fuels your own fire. You can't wait for someone else to do it for you. "Do I want this?" "Yeah." He says, "Great, let's teach you." And he did. Have you ever been so close to something where you make one little shift, one little change, and everything falls into place? I'm the only one that's happened to, huh? He taught me how to hover in 1 day. Would you like to learn how to hover today? Say yes.
Yes.
Raise your right hand up if you're able. Now raise it up higher. The person next to you won't know your deodorant's worn off. We're going to stretch it just a little bit higher. Ready? We're going to bring your elbow down against your rib cage. Brace your elbow against your rib cage. Pivot your hand forward with your elbow braced against your rib cage. How smooth and stable is your wrist? Lift it up and try it without the brace. One thing, bracing your elbow. I hovered that day. Oh, thank you. This new substitute instructor taught me more in that 1 week than my original instructor had taught me at all. And when my original instructor came back from his week vacation going, fail, he couldn't fail me. I knew just enough to pass, but it was ugly. Have you ever had the ugly pass? Do not raise your hand if your boss is in the room. Just wink at me, I got you, right? Because practice makes perfect. Really? I had lots of practice doing it wrong. We're going to shift our paradigm. Practice makes permanent. How you practice determines how you perform. How you practice determines how you show up, how you live in your life, how you work in your job or business. Everything you do today builds your tomorrow. Because practice makes. It's a shift of thinking, isn't it? Did I teach you how to fly today? Yes. Was that pretty cool? Yes. Well, what fly really means is to first lead yourself. Because if you can lead yourself, others will want to follow. They'll want to be a part of who you are and what you bring. And when you fly, you will soar. It was an honor and pleasure to be with you today and to have served our country. I'm Elizabeth McCormick. Thank you.